Touami Bible. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Xbox, Forza Horizon, add me Touami. Touami. I drive a 1991 Nissan Skyline R32 GTST. It's a 5-speed manual. Everything feels fluid. The car handles well. There's a reason that it holds, so much in the actual car community for its own, notoriety. The 32 GTST is kind of like the alternative, sub-spec to the GTR. The GTR being the all-wheel drive with a larger engine. The GTST is rear-wheel drive. It's lighter. It comes with the RB20. I have the RB20 turbo, or it comes with an RB25 turbo. They also came coupe and sedan. So it's got full suspension, an RS enthalpy tune, wheels, and steering wheel that actually came on it from Japan. So it's a pretty standard street car. I really want to do full suspension, and by that I mean bushings, go poly bushings, upgrade the brakes. I don't want to go crazy big. I want to do like the stock GTR brakes. Other than that, a slightly larger turbo, replace it. The stock turbos tend to have problems. Get a Haltech full fuel. The goal is for, some track stuff, some autocross. What I do with it now is just some spirited, street driving. Take it on some back roads when I know they're empty, when I know it's safe. Oh, it's great. It's great. I mean, the car eats. The GTST actually has a little bit better of a weight distribution compared to the GTR, right? So it's easier to maneuver it through those tight turns, and then with it being rear-wheel drive, it can dive that turn super well, really high, 27, into the 28s, depending on what you have in there versus what you take out. You can get it pretty low, but that's kind of the difference, is the all-wheel drive and the GTRs versus the GTSTs is a huge discrepancy in the weight. I actually have the stock brakes on there, and for them being 30 years old, it's not bad. The braking ability, you kind of have to baby into some of the corners knowing that, oh, I'm driving a car from the 90s, from the early 90s. It kind of depends on what the issue is, but when it comes to my car, that's when I'm like, if I can't do it the way I want to and I run into too many obstacles, that's when I'll go, I don't want to have problems in the future. So I'll take it to somebody that knows far better than I do. It's not bad. It's actually the longest car I've ever owned. I have a tendency to I tell time by the amount of cars I've had. I usually keep them for about a year, but I've had this one for about 2 years now. The maintenance isn't bad. The only thing is replacing the parts, the 30-year-old problems. But I can understand why the maintenance would be pretty simple. Oil, anything that breaks isn't going to break the bank. It's not going to be inexpensive. It's not a Camry, but it's not bad. It's easy to keep up with. It kind of depends on where I'm at. If something comes along, I might be prone to, looking at the option of, getting rid of it. But I do like how reliable it is. It doesn't have bad gas mileage. It's not amazing, but it's good for being a daily driver. I know I have friends, SpeedGate members, that do daily drive Skylines. They're reliable as they are. Working AC, working radio. My next goal is anything that would be more track focused. Based on my previous cars, the R32 is a little long for me. It's not big, it's not heavy, but it's long, and I can feel the difference compared to I had a 300ZX, a Z31, and that was one of my favorite cars I've ever driven. But it's small, um, compact, and it really bites, So I'm looking at, MR2s, FDRX7s, and a handful of other kind of, I mean, even FCs, things that are kind of smaller, but carry the same weight, you know. The community Speedgate has created. It's a no nonsense. There's no issues really, and if there is an issue, it's solved immediately, especially with how the car community has been for a long time. That's something that's needed in many, many groups, and Speedgate is the first one that I kind of saw a sense of responsibility. There was a meet at the ice cream shop over in Woodstock. I brought my buddy Mike, and this was in the first kind of area, the first time that I had gotten that car. But my first real meet, aside from being a member, that was way back in when I had a G37. That was at a little gas station. It was a super cool meet. There was raffles, there was giveaways. I saw an R33, black R33. There was, a Supra. Is it the Lancer Evos? And I got to the meet in my G37, which, you know, is a great, start to the car community. And I was just like, I have to, talk to these guys. And so that's when I started following Speedgate, and that was real early. It's the 2024 Skyline Invitational. It was the accumulation of how hard everybody has worked, and it shows that we have been able to take on as much as we were a little uncertain about some of the fluidity. There were some bumps in the road, but like I said, as a group, we knocked those out. um, it was awesome. We had live music. That was a real step up, and I loved that part. The vendors, and there was a ton of people there. Great cars, and it's just from the first Skyline Invitational to this one, this most recent one. It has I've worked on the last three, and this one is the biggest, and I think it shows our growth as a group. Ooh, my Z31, my 300ZX, I loved that car. The only problem that I feel like I faced was the lack of aftermarket support. We had to custom fit um, the the struts, cut off the sprockets on a gas-filled sprocket. It really was. I think my favorite, it was light, pop-up headlights, turbo, um, manual. It was a two-seater, and God, I love that car. Even at 300,000 miles, it was, yeah. 964 GT3 RS, the car that I have now, the GTST. FDRX7, 1963 split window Corvette. Bring a little American in. Well, I'll split it into two. For the people outside of the car community, know that when you talk to the right people, they'll help you. There's people that kind of hold themselves to I don't like that car, but everybody started somewhere. I had a automatic V6 Mustang, and that was my starter car into the car community, and I've grown. Just kind of enjoying and not letting people kind of talk down your own car, but really, really taking the right steps with what you're doing. And then on the other side, for the people that are involved in the car community, get on the track. The track, you get a car to drive. It is more fun, and you don't worry about any kind of issues. Get on the track. You will love it. Even not participating, just go to track events. It is 100% worth it. I've loved every second of it. Riding along the R32 with Will and his Civic, the Type R. You get a car to drive it. So you know, see what it does.